Hi, cooperators. It's me once more. In this video, uh, I'm going to deal with the business of Promedical. In the previous video, I've said a lot about on the definition, what is a cooperative, what is Promedical, the reasons why Promedical was formed. And of course, you might have heard that I was expressing quite a lot of problems. But now the question would be, what is Promedical going to do? How is Promedical doing its business to solve all the problems that I've just listed in the previous video? Perhaps before I go to the businesses that Promedical is involved in, let me first just clarify one question, because someone asked me that who can actually join Promedical. That didn't come out very clearly, and then how much and so forth. The people who can be part of Promedical, all the healthcare workers can be part of Promedical. Other people outside the healthcare profession can also be part of Promedical. But like any other business, there are some controls. When we started Promedical, it was started, just a little bit of history, it was started by medical doctors, because we were specifically looking at the problems that were affecting us as medical doctors specifically. However, we soon realized that there were certain expertise or certain competencies that we didn't have, and we had to look outside medical doctors. But naturally, for medical doctors, we always look at the nearest from us would be our allied health workers, and then we started going out to recruit them. We took a resolution that we are going to also invite. Now, underline the word invite. We invite. There's no automatic acceptance on application. We invite. Unlike medical doctors, they started a cooperative. So when they apply, there is a 99.9% chances that his application will just be accepted just like that, unless there are certain problems. For instance, that perhaps our colleague, there are some problems surrounding his registration or some other issues. But the other people, they have to apply. Unfortunately, those are the controls that we put in place to say, if you are not a medical doctor, we will invite you. You get invited to Promedical Primary Cooperative. Fill up the application form just like any other person. Even if you are a doctor, you still fill up the application form. Then it gets processed, and then you get accepted. We do have a lot of allied health workers. There's not even one that has been turned down. His application has been turned down. Almost everyone who applied got accepted. Same applies with the attorneys. We invite, they get invited, and then their application forms are processed, and then they are accepted as members, and then that is how Promedical does its business. And we don't feel bad about that. We just feel that there must be some form of control, just like any other structure has got some form of control. Any business controls. Any association would control. Whether it be a political party, I'm sure there are some political parties, I don't know. But anyway. And then that's I hope that it deals with the issue of who is eligible to be a member. The reason is we are not ashamed to say Promedical needs to be led. It will be led by doctors, because the mission, the vision, and the strategic objectives of a Promedical Primary Cooperative need to be adhered to. We need to keep our strategy of wrestling the healthcare industry from the so-called wrong hands. We need to keep that strategy intact, and it needs to be developed further. And the only people who can make sure that happens would be people who understand the healthcare industry better. And in our situation, and we do not apologize about this, is that doctors are the engineers of the science, and there's no doubt about that. So we don't debate that. They are the engineers, and being the engineers of the science, they need to lead this science. This is not the science that can be led by another a person except the doctor. Other people would understand that because they are used to working with doctors, unless maybe people just want to differ unnecessarily. But the point is that I'm driving home is that we should accept certain things as our realities, that it is true and real that the engineers of this science called medicine would be the doctors. And then you have the allied health workers who assist us to make sure that in whatever we do, we are successful. And we also assist them as well in making sure that in whatever they do, they are successful. Also, coming to the issue of other professions, your lawyers, your IT guys, your accountants, they are part of Promedical. We go out, recruit them, because we know that in health has got everything. In health, you have law, you have got accounting, because there's money that is moving around. You have got IT. These days, you cannot do anything without having a good IT systems. That is why you have all these people. We recruit them to be part of Promedical. So I hope that assists us to understand who is eligible for membership, why, and how can people be part of Promedical. Now, the joining fee for now is 6,100 rands. And if maybe you want to know the breakdown, you can go to the website www.promedicalprimarycooperative.com, and then you'll see the breakdown of that fee. But 5,500 buys you shares. 5,500 gives you 5,500 shares at R1 per share. So that's your joining fee. Your joining fee gives you shares. It's not like these organizations that people join, or these associations where you keep paying and paying and paying, but you get nothing. You own nothing. You have got no control of it. Maybe when you are lucky, they would call you to come and vote or whatever. I don't know when that happens. Sometimes they accept vote elections that are online. But if you are lucky, you'll be called to vote, or you'll be called. But generally, you just keep bleeding money and you get fork. In Promedical, it's a profit-making entity. It's a wealth creation vehicle. So you put down your money, you get your shares, you control, and you own. So that's Promedical. Now, 6,100, you'll see the breakdown when you go to the website. But just for now, I must be clear that you get 5,500 shares. And the 5,500 shares gives you 5,500 rands gives you 5,500 rands at R1 per share. We are raising 5.7 billion because that's the budget that we presented to DBSA, that we wanted 5.7 billion to be able to roll out the infrastructure that we need to be able to wrestle the healthcare system from the wrong hands and give the people that we serve affordable, comprehensive, accessible healthcare system or healthcare services. Now that brings me to the businesses that Promedical is involved in. The businesses, we conveniently divided them into two categories. We've got what we call core businesses and non-core. And there's a reason why we had to have the core and non-core. Just like I explained later, that Promedical, unfortunately, is not just a business, but it is a business that is geared towards uplifting the socio-economic status or socio-economic conditions of the people that Promedical finds itself in or serves. So that now the core business, obviously, because we are healthcare professionals, the only thing that we know is health. So it would be reasonable to focus on health as our core business. And then we've got other things, for instance, outside health that we call non-core. And those businesses that are non-core, those are the businesses that are designed to assist the communities that we serve and live in to actually start participating in the mainstream economy of this country and uplift their standard of living. That is why we had to have those non-core. As a cooperative, you need to have that. If you don't have that, then you run a risk of losing your relevance and also and having less impact on the communities that you live in or you serve. Now, on the core, we've got health facilities. Now, that's one. We're looking at health facilities. And then, like I said, there is no point in owning and controlling health facilities, and yet you do not control the money flow. If you don't control the money flow, then you will always be going head on hand again, begging the medical aids, begging all these other funders to be paying you. That's nonsense. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like that. If you own healthcare infrastructure, control the money too, and I'll deal with that as we move on. Now, in terms of the healthcare infrastructure, what we're talking about, we are talking about rolling out. We don't want our hospital to be called private hospitals. Okay. We don't want to call them like that. These are cooperative hospitals. These are hospitals that our vision is to have one cooperative hospital in each and every province. Right? They are in each and every province. And each hospital, our vision is that it needs to be supported by a day clinic and a rehab. A few meters away from it, or in the same yard, it doesn't matter. But it needs to be supported by a day clinic and a rehab, or subacute and rehab. Now, each and every township and a village needs to have a 24-hour medical center. That is our ambition. It's very ambitious. That's what we want. That's why we asked DBSA to give us 5.7 billion. We're talking to them now, and they understand it. Ambitious, of course. If you are not ambitious, you'll never get anywhere. That's why you always say aim for 100 to get your 80. If you aim for 80, you'll get your 60. Okay. Now, the question would then, now let us say we have these hospitals, and then where do we get the patients? Well, we have patients because we are doctors. Doctors have patients. That's natural. That doctors have patients. Now, but usually patients are described in terms of the affordability or the ability to afford or to afford to pay for healthcare services, usually. Now, here's our thinking. We are saying there is a pyramid where the apex of the pyramid is about 9.5 million people who are on a medical aid. Okay? Now, we have a problem with a medical aid, but if they come, it's okay. We give them a service. But we are not going to go out and set up an infrastructure targeting medical aid patients only. We're going to have a problem because already that market is a very tricky market. Most of the people these days cannot afford, number one, to be on a medical aid. And those who are still hanging in there, very soon, when the national health insurance shakes that tree, they will fall off that tree. They can't afford to stay on a medical aid. And medical aids, they have a problem of now going into a preferred provider status and so on and so on. And it's also an organized and legalized mafia. They know the people that they are comfortable to deal with. I'll deal with that some other time, various medical aids, what they are doing, because I know what they are doing. So we cannot bank on such people because medical aids, by their very design, they mushroomed as a result of the mushroom of the private healthcare sector, or mushroom of the private hospitals. And that's why you notice that they don't query anything when private hospitals claim they're just given all the money that they need. But they would always have problems when it comes to paying doctors. But we'll deal with that. So we are not banking on those people. We are looking at a very interesting market, which is the middle of the pyramid. If, of course, you minus the base for now, which we believe for now, those are indigent people that the government is taking care of. That middle of the pyramid, we estimated it some couple of years ago to be around 15 million. And those are the people who have got the money to be able to pay for the healthcare services. But they cannot afford the typical private hospital as it is today. And at the same time, they are very reluctant to make use of the state facilities because of the queues and so on and so on. These are the people who are economically active. They can afford their habits. They can afford their life, and but they cannot afford certain things that are way out of their budget. But at the same time, they don't want to go to the state. That is the market that Promedical is looking at. We want to service that market. Now, there's a way of servicing that market, which I'm just going to touch a little bit on it. Because these people are employed, then we negotiate with the employers that the employers, they must actually pay the money over to Promedical Primary Cooperative, and then we service these people. I'll deal with those products at a later stage. But suffice to say, that is our approach. We are looking at that market, and the only thing that we have to do now is just to design. In fact, we are busy. I've consulted with a lot of actuaries. We have designed quite a lot of products that are ready to be piloted. I've spoken to many companies now who are just waiting for the products to be packaged, presented to them, and then we run a pilot project. And if all goes well, and then they are on board. But I'll deal with the details when we come to that one. And of course, that will take care of things like how do we then reimburse the doctors and so on and so on. I don't want to deal with that in this video. This video is just, the purpose of this video is just to make sure that you understand what business Promedical is involved in, how we're looking at that market, how we're going to capture that market, how we're going to control the money flow, how we're going to come in, what infrastructure we're going to put in, and so on and so on. Now, let me just mention that while still dealing with the issue, just to make you comfortable in your minds, is that besides the market that I've mentioned, the 15 million people that are in the middle of that pyramid, there is also a big fund called Road Accident Fund. It's a big fund. And I'll talk about Road Accident Fund at a later stage as well, to tell you how doctors actually come in, why doctors must control that fund. And also WCA. All these funds, if you look at them, they are there to pay the doctors, because we are the people who treat the patients. Patients are not treated by lawyers. They are treated by doctors. And then, attorneys come after, once we have dealt with. So all those monies actually are there, have been set aside for us as doctors. The problem is that why we don't have access to those monies, or we're not enjoying those monies now, is because we're disorganized and we don't understand the health industry. We don't understand the business of health, how to get there, how to get in there, and of course ethically and morally and legally grab the money, and of course we always do that by giving a good service to the patient. Okay. Now, the only way, and which is very exciting for me to tell you this, the only way we can be trusted by anybody when we are dealing with money, especially when we are dealing with the employers, is that if you are a financial institution. That is why Promedical said one of our core businesses, besides us owning the healthcare infrastructure, making sure we've got all these things, the beautiful things that I've mentioned, and controlling the money flow, we need to have we need to become a financial institution. And that is why the very first thing when we met, we said we are going to have a cooperative bank. We need a bank. We need a bank license. With a bank license, you can register any other product with a bank license. And anybody who is holding money can trust you with money if you are an institution. Of course, a good institution. I mean, I don't want to talk about other things that we have had our brothers and sisters that do to actually even lead us to a problem where we cannot be trusted with money. But that's a discussion for another day, not for this video. But the main thing is, if we are a financial institution, it is easy to deal with anybody because you have got systems in place to manage these funds, and you have got an authority that is actually overseeing the management of those funds. So in our case, we said we're gonna have a bank license, and we're not very far from the bank license, but I don't want to talk too much about it again. It's something that will come in another video, but we are working very hard to make sure that very soon we meet the threshold in terms of membership to apply for a cooperative bank license, and that will take us very far. Okay, and still on health, we as a cooperative, we said we needed to partner with the strategic pharmaceutical companies, not companies, sorry, wholesales, and we're looking preferably our black people. But unfortunately, as you know, it's very difficult to deal with our fellows. As we're going around, talking to them, and some of them, they started even stopping to take our calls. And then we decided that, well, if they don't feel like working with the Promedical Primary Cooperative, then we have no choice but to set up our own. So we're in the process right now of setting up our own pharmaceutical wholesale. We have pharmacists that we have recruited into the cooperative, and then who will be running the pharmaceutical wholesales, where we'll be getting our pharmaceutical products for the use by the GPs and other allied workers and other doctors. And so we'll have pharmaceutical wholesale and be able to get our products and consumables there. And then unfortunately, we would have loved as a cooperative to team up with other existing black-owned pharmaceutical wholesales, but it was not easy. If people don't pick up your calls, then it's difficult. And you introduce the idea, and then 2-3 days later they stop talking to you. Perhaps they feel that there's no need for such a relationship, and then we decided that no, then Promedical should go ahead and start setting up its own wholesales, and that's what we're doing. So that's another serious business that we are busy with right now. And the other business is medical equipment that Promedical is busy with. We have got some beautiful medical equipment that we have already in stock, and of course some of the equipment we can only source as and when it is needed. By the way, on the pharmaceutical products and consumables, currently, whilst we are busy working on our facility, we are using a third party. We just have a third party arrangement, and then we use that third party. We source products, they via that wholesale, and then we then push them to the colleagues or to the doctors or allied health workers that need them, or any other person who needs these products. They just order. Information is available on the website. You can call me, it's not a problem. Then there's medical equipment. Okay? Oh, let me just mention here, I'm very sorry that it comes right at the end. The beautiful thing is that we have even started attracting our best on the laboratory services. We have Dr. Masika, who runs actually a laboratory service. Where is his Anyway, Dr. Masika. Oh yes, Dr. Masika runs a. He calls it a STEM path. STEM path. Yeah. He's currently renting a space in one of our centers, orthopedic and pain center in Tembisa, next to Zamoguhle. He does collect the specimens, so if you need, but I'll send information on Dr. Masika, and then but yeah, he's very efficient. He collects the specimens, so you draw the bloods, and then he just send people to collect, and that's it. So this is what we want. We want to have our own. We want to walk away from the big boys that are dominating the industry today, and you know them. I don't have to mention them. Maybe they will sue me and that I'm actually talking about them in the social media or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that was Dr. Masika who's running a pathology lab, and then I'm sure we'll be all looking at supporting Dr. Masika. Now that brings me to the non-core. The non-core, guys, I'm just going to run down. Like I've said, the non-core is for the communities that we serve. But not only that, maybe there's something that I must say on the non-core. There's a very important one. Very important. We've got the insurance and investment, cash loan, import-export. We've got logistics. We've got office automation. And then we've got IT solutions. Okay. Yeah. Let me just, take those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those 6, they are non-core. But let me be honest with you. They are game changers. Because if you look at the insurance, it's up and running, by the way. Again, I'll talk about it. Insurance and investment, we'll talk about it. This video is not designed for that. But insurance and investment, there is a lot of money that is moving out of us as cooperators, out, empowering other people outside us. Just like there's a lot of money moving out of the black communities, funding projects of other communities or other nations. Let me give you an example. I just came across some shocking figures that money within the black communities it stays only for about 6 hours. Whereas with the white communities, it circulates 17 days. And then with the Jews, it circulates 20 days. Then with the Asians, it circulates 30 days. So that gives the reason why these nations, these communities are so successful. So I don't want to go too far, but just those figures, they should be worrying enough. So now, that is why when we look at these non-core, yes, they are non-core businesses, but let me tell you, they are game changers. Insurance and investment, if you were to check the amount of money that we are paying through a certain broker to a particular company, which is they call themselves insurers and investment houses and so on and so on. It's a lot of money. And those monies, they then, after leaving us, going to them, of course, they must give us something, a cover, a life cover, an investment, some sort of product, and so on and so on. Then from there, those monies, by the way, we also pay the brokers, those people who sell those things to us. And then they go to the other nations. And then after that, they leave. Most of the time, it goes offshore because they don't reinvest here. They are scared of putting their money in South Africa because of all the other uncertainties, which we'll deal with them at a later stage. So yes, one of our non-core is in insurance and investors. It's up and running. I'll talk about it in another video. How do we spend the money? How do we bring the money to make sure that it stays home? We'll talk about it. There's no money that goes out anymore. That is why Promedical exists. Promedical wants to make sure that there's no money that leaves us as a doctor community, as a allied health workers, as a black lawyers, accountants, IT guys. Please, you see, no money that is gonna go out. It must build schools. It must build us football grounds for our children. It must build swimming pools for our kids. It must build us clinics and hospitals. All the money must stay inside. It doesn't go out. With us, it must stay more than 30 days. If it stays 30 days with the Asians, with us, it's going to stay 60 days. That's what we're saying. Okay, let's move on. Then we have got also on the non-core, your cash loan. Cash loan for our members. Okay, we lend to our members. We also do pre-funding. Okay, pre-funding is when if maybe a colleague doesn't like waiting for his money, and then he thinks that RAF is gonna take too much for a long time to pay your WCA, and then we pay the colleague upfront and then collect that money from RAF or WCA. Okay, and then that is up and running. It's profitable. Promedical is doing well on that one. Investment and insurance, we have accredited. We went to the a single broker system, and then we have decided that we are going to go through single broker, and then it's up and running already. There are people who have signed up on a single broker system, and then I'm going to deal with it as well. And then cash loan, I've mentioned, it's up and running. Good returns are being made, but we focus on the colleagues. Invoice discounting is the same as pre-funding. But if, for instance, you want to know more about that, all you do, go to the website, and then we have everything there. We've got our numbers, emails in the office, you phone us, you tell us. Then we've got logistics. TNT and FedEx is our partner. We partner to TNT and FedEx, and they gave us what we call wholesale rates now, and we are able to at least make something there for Promedical. We can move goods throughout the world, the globe. We can move goods outside the country, from outside to inside the country. Anything that needs to move, we move things within South Africa. We don't have issues. They cover the entire Africa, no problems. Promedical also has got a beautiful non-core business partnership with Kayosera, where we do office automation and document solution. Okay, so what to call document management, office automation and document management. It's a good business. We haven't done much on that one. We're looking for opportunities. And again, I'll be talking about this business. This business is on different videos, because I will be making a lot of videos and trying to make sure that people know what Promedical Primary Cooperative is all about in terms of its business activities. Right, now the ones that I'm going to mention, these are the ones now, the non-core that we felt that these ones we need to get involved in to assist our communities to develop. Building and construction. Primary cooperative is registered with CIBD now. So basically we can start building, big structures. We have registered. We have not done any product except the handyman division, because that's another one. Is active. We have done some few jobs there and there, burglar doors and so on. That's handyman. We employ people from the township. We give them some work for the day, and they go and do the handyman work. And then once that, we pay them, and the cooperative makes a little bit out of that. And building and construction, we believe that we are going to make a huge impact, because Our business model as a cooperative, when it comes to building and construction, is that the people themselves need to build their houses. They need to learn, they need to be taught, they need to be trained how to build their own houses. This thing of this tender things that is going on here, people getting a million, multi-million, that is nonsense. It must come to an end. As a cooperative, our belief, our strategy is that people need to be taught how to do things for themselves, self-help. So that's where we are. And then lastly, we have security and security systems. We do everything. Promedical can do everything. We've got the best of the best from the township who actually came and joined as people who are going to be service providers under Promedical. There are a lot of them. They keep applying now. Some of them, we said they must wait until we get a lot of work. So far we have not done work, but there is work coming that is promising for security and security systems. And that's where we employ our people. And all of us as doctors, we need to check up our security and security systems. So for sure, very soon, even handyman, most of us as healthcare workers, lawyers, accountants, IT, I mean, come on, we need to check up our security. We have got handyman issues. We have got our pipes that are bursting. We have got so many things. Our taps are leaking. We have got leaks. We're paying more on water. We can go and do a leak detection and so on. Promedical is doing all these things. Not, of course, there's some little bit that it makes, but those are projects that are for community development. So, guys, too many projects. Yes, that's why it was so many. That's why cooperative keeps recruiting people. That's why cooperative is a game of numbers. Cooperative is not about Dr. Mkulisa. It's not about Bacchus. Cooperative is about us all. Cooperative is about the people. It's the people's business. Cooperative is a social business. It's not that thing that you do alone in the corner there, your whatever, your CC or your PTY that you do that can, most of the time fail 3 times before it takes off. No, this is a big thing. So, guys, thanks. I hope that I've managed to take you through all the important things, and I will be making a lot of videos. If maybe you want me to make a video on a particular topic, just send me a message. I'll do that video. I love this. I love what I'm doing. I love the cooperative. I enjoy doing this. I wish I can do this throughout, but unfortunately, at some point I have to go and put somebody to sleep, and at some point I need to go and see those coughing patients in my surgery. But otherwise, thank you very much. Till we meet next time.